The question is that the motion be agreed to.
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Parakura Horomia.
Ia koutou e lali moko. A me pake ke warana e mihi koina kia koutou. E mihi koina ki tō kaumihira Wayne. Koutou katoa e whaikaha atu e tai tahi te rangi nei. E tautoko ti atu te mihi o tā tātou minita Māori. Te tāku te pita kia koutou. E mohe atu tātou te rōroa hoki me te mamai i mau ana a muri a koutou i te tai atu te rangi nei. E tino rangi hoki tēnei mō koutou Ngati Manuhiri, e tai kaha te koutou, a ko ngā piki ngā heke. Mo te ahu o te mautere hauturu, me te ngahere, me te whakahoki o wetahi o ngā wāhi whenua kia koutou. E te me i rochi a tātou katoa ngā kaimahi o te whare meere nei, e mohi atu tātou te mamai o rātou kuarere atu, ko peka atu ki tērā tahu. E mohi atu tātou ahakoa nā wai no whea, e tai atu te katoa ki tērā rere haere, e mihi koina kia rātou. Engari mō tātou kei te orana, kanui te mihi. E mihi koina kia koutou. Tēnā koutou mō tō kaharawa i te tai, ahakoa te ki i rochi a rātou o taui mo te ahua te piki me te heke, ko tērā no wetahi o ngā take pāna ki te oro o tātou nai Māori. Nā te kaha me te pai o te rangi nei, e tai kaha tu koutou i roto tāhua tu Māori, pēra i turu a te whare nei, e whakae atu te oti pai mō koutou. Tēnā koutou. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to recognise the Chief Negotiator and Co-Mātua Lally Haddon, the Lead Negotiator Mook, Terence Hognack. I never known what Mook's real name was, but Terence. Tēnā koe Terence. Hānui te mihi kia koe Terence. E tino mihi atu kia koe Terence. Tēnā koe. Me ngā kaumātua katu. A Perry Watts, a koutou e warana, koutou e taitahi atu i koe nei. And to a lot of those people who have gone on, the relevance of this claim, in my mind, is how short it has been. It is an example in an organised journey that other claimants could take sight of. Really getting down to it in 2009, and I want to commend the Minister for his effort in this. He was a bit churlish yesterday, saying we had done nothing in our time, when he was reading his poetry off his list and badging us people. By crikey, I nearly stood up and took a point of order, but I want to recognise the Minister's effort and recognise that period of time, short period of time, really for treaty settlements from 2009 to now. Not saying that the heavy burden laid on the Manuhiri people by the actions of the Crown, the Māori, the Native Land Court, and all other organisations that stripped them of physical assets and their physical being. What I've never believed is that the Crown have taken any of our people's mana away. That's always intact. That it gets recognised now in a framework of them making it understood that they are the mana whenua, they are the tangata whenua, is something certainly that Ngati Manuhiri has done well, has espoused well, and has made certain that people understand who's there and who should not be and where they should be going. I want to recognise Sir Douglas Graham, who's not here today, for the effort in the initial stages of some of his efforts on behalf of the Crown in trying to get this together. And I think that it should be mentioned that he, with his effort for all of those groups, the Kaipara, Mahurangi, Tamaki Makaurau, Hauraki and Coromandel, including Ngati Manuhiri, to enter into direct negotiations with the Crown to settle all their historical treaty claims. Between July 2009 and March 2011, the Moko Trust engaged in negotiations with the Crown for the settlement of all Ngati Manuhiri historical treaty claims. The initial deed of settlement was ratified by members of Ngati Manuhiri and signed in May 2011. And I want to again reiterate that this has been a quite organised, orderly and short journey, even though it was about long-term angst and the anxiety that the Ngati Manuhiri carried. The Ngati Manuhiri claims relate to the failure of the Crown to create adequate reserves for Ngati Manuhiri during the purchase of Mahurangi and Omaha in 1841. And I'm always amazed at the size of the buildings and the wealth that pervades that land in Omaha now. And native land laws and operation of the Native Land Court, and I think history will tell us that the Native Land Court and the orders that were made at that time were some of the most spurious and scurrilous decisions made with those people. There wasn't recognition of who they were and what they were, and they just chose, like a consolidated bureaucracy, what should happen and what the edict should be for going forward. The Crown's acquisition of Hauturu, a toy little barrier island, and this certainly has tested the waters, dare I mention it, in relation to this settlement. But I think it's in a fine space, and the agreement that the Crown has reached with Ngati Manuhiri is something that can carry the future, and there is allowance now, after the approach to the Select Committee, about making sure that future generations can have some avenue or opportunity to continue to discuss the decision-making activities there. The Crown's actions did leave Ngati Manuhiri virtually landless and had devastating and enduring effects on the spiritual, cultural and economic well-being of Ngati Manuhiri. The settlement package includes the walk with District Court and Pakuri school sites, which will be leased back to the Crown, which will generate consistent income to help Ngati Manuhiri forge their pathway forward for those who are there. $2.49 cash plus interest payable on the $9 million since December 2009. The South Mangahawhai Crown Forest licence lands and accumulated rentals of around $1.2 million. And first right of refusal for 169 years over 82 Crown-owned properties specified in the deed of settlement. And this I wanted to labour a bit on, Mr. Speaker, through the Minister, excuse the pun. I think that a lot of these properties that are sitting there are either getting graffitied, vandalised, kicked around, and nobody seems to care. And I can't quite comprehend why we don't become more generous or more forthright. And it would take a visionary minister of treaty settlements to push this along, and I'm certain he'd be supported from this side of the House, because that's what's happening. Empty schools are pillaged, empty halls are left to rot, and then we all get so high and mighty. I think some of the officials saying that it's land bank, it's land bank. It's like Fort Knox. What the hell does land bank mean? It means that property is stuck over there to rot, to get vandalised. And I would strongly suggest through you, Mr. Speaker, that this great brave minister should take something to the Cabinet, and we would support that. Because that really does help the local whānau and the local iwi. They've generally been the centre of those schools, of those properties. I want to mention the Council and those people who have supported this claim. There are a whole lot of other cultural redresses investing. But when I read this about 82 Crown-owned properties and give it 169 years, well, I'll tell you what's going to happen if they sit there for 169 years. They're going to get pito, they're going to fall over, and why isn't it such a great thing to give to the mana whenua, because we took a lot of that land away. So, Minister, in closing, I would ask you seriously to consider that. I want to commend the Chair of the Māori Affairs Select Committee, the Honourable Tau Henare, for receiving and listening to the 100 submissions that we had on this bill. So people have taken it seriously, and many submissions raise concerns of a whole lot of issues. But let's remember that this is about those people who live there. It's not about politicians who we have a role to make the decision on behalf of the Crown, but at the end of the day, it's Ngati Manuhiri who lives there. It's Ngati Manuhiri who will be there forever. They haven't gone away. They will never go away. And our job as the Crown is to put something right that has been wrong for a long, long time. Kia ora.
Honourable Chris Finlayson.
Mr. Speaker, I hope those